Well, there we have it, guys. We have our first semi-finalist into the World Cup 2023. Argentina taking this one 29 points to 17. And you have to say, deserve it. If my voice is sounding a bit off on this one, it's because I don't think I've ever screamed in frustration so much as at this game from a Wales standpoint. When I do the channel, I try and remain as unbiased as possible, but outside of it, I'm a proud Wales supporter. This was not the performance today. I remember seeing a Squidge Rugby video talking about the way Warren Gatland organises the team, and the way that Wales are one of the few teams that sort of fail to adapt. They consistently go for a plan and they'll go and go and go and go and they'll force it until it works and then it will pay off for them. I think this is a sort of showcase in what happens if you don't adapt and the other team just says, thank you. And they keep doing it. So many areas for Wales today looking incredibly subpar. Argentina had a bit of a shaky first half. Wouldn't have exactly been what they wanted, but that second half performance might be one of the best halves we've seen from Argentina at the World Cup, and is sort of a bit more of what we wanted to see probably from Argentina from the entire tournament. But we're going to have a run through of the game, give some thoughts on it, go over some of the key highlights and what have you. Make sure you hit the like button. If you enjoy, drop down your thoughts on the game down in the comment section, because we all have slightly different thoughts and what have you. So, like I said, a bit of a choppy first half. The first 15 minutes or so, very sketchy. I think both teams trying to feel each other out, trying to get on with how the game was going. Handling errors galore. I think we were up to something like 8 handling errors in the first 15 minutes, which was just kind of absolutely shocking for them. Argentina were the more offensive team. They looked to be getting off to the better start. By the 10-minute marker, Wales had made 6 times the amount of tackles as Argentina. They were being put on that back foot instantly. Argentina missed an early penalty. Boffelli kicking one wide, and I thought, oh my goodness, he's going to have another one of these games where maybe it's a bit 50-50 in terms of the kicking. Did turn it round later on, which was a big positive for them. Wales getting the first one on the scoreboard. Dan Biggar getting over for his try after the attacks. Maybe not going quite as well from them. They were trying to shift out wide a lot, which was making meters, but they didn't really feel like they were going to be scoring off the back of one of those. They decided to switch it up a bit. They went through one of those set plays off the back of a set piece, which we've seen them do throughout this tournament, switching it back inside George North, carrying it over the line, getting that offload to Gareth Davis, taking it up, and an offload to Biggar to take that one over, and managed to convert his own try as well. So Wales went to a 7-0 lead, and around that time we lost Jaco Peyper. It's one of the more unusual things to lose a referee in a game. So Jaco Peyper going off and Carl Dixon coming on, who, in all honesty, I can see a lot of people getting mad at him from this game. To be honest, I think he saw quite a few penalties that I think other refs might have missed or might not have penalised, and let some things go, which I'm glad he did. There was a couple of instances in this game where I feel like the crowd was cheering for a penalty, and he did let them play on and said, no, you can't do any of that. One came to mind with Carreras sort of jumping to catch the ball, and he caught Jack Morgan's arm and fell over, and the crowd were cheering for it. I think let him play on like that. I think he made a lot of right decisions. There are some questionable decisions as well. Of course, there is. It's a game of rugby, right? But I think he did a good enough job being able to step in. But there's one big talking point we'll get onto a little bit later. The 20-minute to the 40-minute mark, it was all for me. Just take the opportunities when they're on hand. Wales had 4 penalties in kickable distance across that 20-minute period towards half-time. Dan Biggar converted 1. He missed 1. They went for the corner twice, and the line-out failing them twice. The line-out today, very poor from Ryan Elias. We saw him come off at half-time. Dewi Lake improved it, but it still wasn't, as bang on as I probably would have wanted it to have been. On the flip side, Argentina kicked both of theirs over to bring it back to a 10-point to 6, only a 4-point game. And Wales, just at the end of that first half, just felt like they were slipping off. We saw about half hour where I felt like Wales were sort of in the game and sort of playing pretty well. After that half-hour mark, it really felt like it dropped off for me. There was so many just silly penalties. We saw Gareth Thomas, crumbling at the scrum, gave away another penalty immediately afterwards for being offside. We had Josh Adams shoulder barging a player off the ball, completely unnecessary. I kind of thought he was a bit lucky to not get a yellow card in there, to be honest. We've seen, referees get very annoyed at players for doing that completely off the ball. Not really necessary. Luckily, it wasn't a yellow card for Wales, or it could have been much worse. But these silly penalties, Boffelli had already missed one kick. They already had a penalty advantage towards the halfway line, and all Josh Adams doing that did was allow Boffelli to move 40 metres closer to the post. So always going to kick it. Silly penalties, just a silly level of discipline, really allowing Argentina to get get back into the game from what felt like a bit of a slow half for Argentina. But then we get into that second half, and Argentina just stepping up a little bit of a notch, and Wales just flatlined, just stayed exactly where it was. Again, those penalties coming in. One thing Argentina were awesome at today, taking the restarts, their own, the ones they were kicking off, like, it didn't matter. I felt like they took almost all of the restarts in this game and put Wales under so much pressure, just stuck in their own half, and then being able to generate penalties, just going through the forwards, carrying the ball, got them those 2 early penalties in the first 10 minutes of the second half, Barfelli kicking both them. Argentina taking the lead for the first time, 12 points to 10. Didn't look like they were going to be getting over that try line, to be honest. It looked like they were really sort of struggling to get through the Wales defence, but just those penalties allowing them into the game, it's one of the things you need in this international level, is just have these constant 3 points ticking away. Wales were the next ones to get the try. Thomas Williams going over, making an impact from the bench. For everything I said in the preview video, Gareth Davis, for me, underperformed in this one by quite a lot. The box kicking was off mark. The Wales kicking across the board was off mark, just not really going well for them at all. Thomas Williams came on and felt like he improved the game for Wales, so he'll take a lot of positives away from this game. To be honest, Dan Bigger converting that one, taking it to 17 points to 12, back in the lead. But once again, sort of like we saw after that 10-0 lead, I don't know what it is about this Wales team. They get into the lead and it's just, there we are, we're in the lead, time to shut off now and play defensive. I don't know why they're not carrying on the attacks. I think we saw Wales attacking that first half. For the first half hour, they were 10-0 up. I think we saw one attack from Wales in that second half, in that first opening 20, and it came away with a try. They were going on the attack and scoring, but as soon as they were in the lead, they took the foot off the gas and said, well, now we're going to back our own defence. We're going to back that fitness they've been so proud of. But Argentina just don't stop coming for you. They'll play that full 80. They'll go all game. And I think it was the wrong decision from Wales, and they got punished for it. 70 minutes onwards, look at the scores coming in there. Sclavi going in for his try, who I did think was, I think that might be wrong. I think it was actually Bejo went over for the try off the back of the pick and goes. The forwards working really, really hard. Wales did stop 3 driving mauls, but it looked like it was creaking over no matter what. There was in amongst this quite an interesting decision. We had a head contact from the shoulder, and this is a big turning point in this game for me. Now, there's a lot of different grey areas to talk about with this one. Direct shoulder to the head. So you would think it's probably going to go to a yellow. It's going to be that bunker review, and could it be upgraded to the red card? Me watching it personally, I feel like he was attempting to clear out. I think he genuinely made an attempt, and I think Nick Tompkins dropped down. He released the player, he was dropping down. So I was like, okay, most likely he's going off for a yellow here, but it's absolutely going to remain as a yellow. I think a red card would be immensely harsh. I don't think he deserves a red card for that by any means. The TMO and the ref had a conversation, and it came away as no foul play at all. And I just struggled to wrap my head around this one, not, because it's, like a bias for Wales, but just the understanding of what the sort of officiating is. I understood the decision made, and it was saying, I don't think he's looked for it. It's not dangerous to go. I think he came from distance. I think he had a clear line of sight. I think Nick Tompkins drops, and absolutely, but he's led with a shoulder to hit Dan Bigger and looked away from the player, and his shoulders accidentally made head contact with Nick Tompkins. I still feel something should fall in line with, it's your responsibility as the player coming from distance to not make contact. I think there's an argument for both sides in this one, but you think back to some of the other, yellow cards we've had in this tournament. There was one against, was it Brex in the Uruguay game in Italy? Because a Uruguay player head-butted Brex's scrum cap, and it was head-on-head contact, and therefore he had to go off, sort of deal. And I think, it seems like they're saying about this head contact and player safety is paramount above all else, and then you have a head contact, from distance for me, and it's not even a penalty. I think I'm somewhere in between whether it could have been a penalty or a yellow card. I don't think it was intentional. I think there was enough mitigating factors. I could have seen that being a penalty. But to say no foul play, I think that's up for a big debate, because not only was that an impact, Nick Tompkins having to then go off for his HIA. Wales had no cover in the centre department in terms of the bench. That's their own problem. That's not an excuse. So Sam Costello stepping in the centre looked a little bit worried. Didn't really know how he was going to be defending that one. And ultimately, just that pick and go and not knowing he's going to be able to defend that line is how you get to the Sclavi try. And you really felt the momentum shift. It just shifted away from them at that point. Wales just looked down, didn't really have a lot of energy about them. They had one chance to get a try back right at the end with Rio Dyer on the charge, 2 men to his left, not looking. Takes on the tackles. They got it out to Reece Zammit. Nearly scored a brilliant try in the corner if it wasn't for an absolutely phenomenal tackle to push him into touch and stop that one. That was a huge try-saving moment from Argentina. And then after that, you just felt like it had gone. Nicolas Sanchez getting his try, brilliant read. Wales off the back of a set piece. It's so telegraphed. You know what's happening. They've done it all game. Brilliant read by Sanchez to run in between Costello and Thomas Williams. Takes that ball, runs it 50 metres up the field, and Boffelli to kick that one over. Took them out to 26 points to 17. I thought that's probably going to be game over from there. Wales still not done though. Gave away yet another penalty. Domachowski cradling the ball like a newborn baby on the ground. Never ever letting go of that thing. Clear to the referee. And there's another 3 points for Sanchez to lock that one out. So 29 points to 17. Argentina progress, and absolutely deservedly so. I did make a little bit of a note for myself just at the end of that game about what areas of the game it felt like Wales won in comparison to Argentina. And it got kind of sad because it was every area goes to Argentina. I think the breakdown battle was Argentina. They looked absolutely immense. You think about the jacklers that Wales have in that team, and Argentina just looked like they were running over that breakdown so often in the game. The aerial battle was brilliant today. Boffelli led from the front in terms of that aerial battle. Wales just not kicking the chases well enough at all, or just getting in the air and just slapping the ball, not even attempting to catch. Really wasn't going their way. I thought Argentina looked much better. The kicking game, generally around the park, Argentina's kicks looked like they had purpose. It looked like it was going somewhere. They did get pinged a couple of times for, players running offside and things and what have you, and that's something they can work on before the semi-finals. So many of Wales's kicks went so deep. Gareth Davis's box kicks weren't on point. We saw a lot of just kicks for someone to chase, but no one chasing them. Argentina calling the mark, organising the play very well. The line out was Argentina. They were doing immense that line out today. Alemano was being a real nuisance in terms of that line out and just not letting Wales get on. Ryan Elias is throwing not on point. The scrum felt quite even throughout the game. It was really holding. I could see by the end of the game it was creaking. It was going Argentina's way, and I had that game gone on for another 10 minutes or so, I think it would have just started being penalty after penalty, that scrum. And then the driving maul, again, I think Argentina were on the charge for that one. Wales' defensive maul today, relatively decent. Didn't really let a driving maul try go over or anything, but it just looked like they were better organised, better set up. Every single maul Argentina did suddenly led to another penalty for Wales because they were just trying to drag it down. Will Rowlands at the base of the mauls constantly dragging it down. Aaron Wainwright had a couple going in at the side, and you just tally them up. It's just every area of the game Argentina felt better in. Wales will be, I think, pretty disappointed with this performance. I don't think they knew what they were trying to accomplish. That first half felt like it had purpose, shipping it out wide, including the wingers, trying to put Argentina under pressure and try and mitigate those forwards. And then in the second half, they just stopped. They were doing one-off runners direct at the Argentinian forwards who were just going to, look for those turnovers. Josh Adams and Reece Zammit didn't feel like they were really getting into that second half at all. They weren't getting the ball out wide. Every possession Wales had, it was either being kicked away or somebody looking for a ridiculous offload. I don't know what was going on in terms of the offload. They were obviously trying to just generate momentum, but where there was none, there were many, many poor passes in this game. In that 75th minute, a little stat came up on the TV, and Wales had 12 handling errors in this game. And so many of those handling errors just felt unforced and unnecessary. It's trying to get an offload from the ground or just popping a pass off to someone that's in the exact same position as you, and they're not going to do anything rather than just taking it into contact and recycling and going on another one, forcing the play, and came back to bite them in this one. So Argentina progress onwards, and I really look forward to see how they get on. Of course, we've got Ireland versus New Zealand still to come up today, so there'll be a big old competitive semi-final. The Southern Hemisphere, first ones to get in. I haven't really been keeping track of, it was North versus South this round, but I know a couple of people are big into the North versus Southern Hemisphere thing. So Southern Hemisphere get in first. Argentina go on to their 3rd ever World Cup semi-final. And if they keep up that performance and work on a couple of the little things, their own little handling errors, bit of discipline, a couple of penalties in that first half didn't feel necessary from Argentina. Just those little improvements, as they have been doing throughout the tournament and getting gradually better. I think we're hopefully in for a really good semi-final. I'm looking forward to see Argentina go on, and congratulations to all the Argentinian subscribers. Don't know how many we have, to be fair, on the channel, but if we do, congratulations to you guys. Look forward to seeing you go on into the semi-finals. I'm off now to get myself ready to sit down for a massive game, Ireland versus New Zealand. I hope you've all enjoyed this one today, guys. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.